Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Thomas of Woodstock and we get to hear from Tresilian today in Act 3, Scene 1. At the beginning of this scene, we had Richard sort of trying to maybe impress Anne or get her approval or some such thing after he had talked to his flatterers, who are now his counselors. He was saying to her, like, look at all this great stuff that I'm doing. We have these fancy new clothes. I've redone Westminster. I'm having these big fancy dinner parties every night. You want to check it out? And she was like, well, you're going to run out of money really fast if you keep doing that. And he's like, that doesn't matter. I'm going to be the only king in history that ever did this. And all the other kings that come after me are going to want to be as awesome as I am. So let's go check out Westminster. And they leave. And Tresilian is left to deal with this blank charter thing. So the blank charters are like blank checks that he has been instructed to take throughout the kingdom and have people sign their names to. And then at some later date, without the people's knowledge, at some later date, King Richard will fill in how much each of those people owe in taxes. So Tresilian is working on that. Richard and Anne have gone off, and most of the rest of the flatterers, because what fun is it to have new clothes if people don't see you wearing the new clothes? So they've gone off to show off their new clothes and to see Westminster and all of that. But Tresilian is left to figure out the blank check thing. So he calls in his servants, how's all this going? And he calls in Nimble, and there's a little bit of back and forth about what Nimble is wearing. And then Tresilian says to him, go, spread those several blanks throughout the kingdom. And here's commission with the council's hands, with charge to every shreve and officer to assist and aid you. And when they're sealed and signed, see ye note well such men's ability as set their hands to them. Inquire what rents, what lands, or what revenues they spend by the year, and let me straight receive intelligence. Besides, I'd have you use yourselves so cunningly to mark who grudges, or but speaks amiss of good King Richard, myself, or any of his new counselors. Attach them all for privy whisperers, and send them up. I have a trick in law, shall make King Richard seize into his hands the forfeiture of all their goods and lands. Nimble, take thou these blanks, and see you take a special note of them. So this is him giving the instructions about the blank charters to Nimble, saying, take these around everywhere to every person who maybe has anything. Tell every police officer, every council person, have everybody and their grandmother help you get all of these signed and sealed by pretty much everybody that lives in the kingdom. And while you're doing that, find out how much money they're collecting in rent, how much stuff they have on hand, how much money they spend in the average year. So we have a decent idea of what we'll be able to collect from them later. And he tacks onto that also, let me know if anybody's speaking bad about the king or about us, because I have a special way to get at them through the law. So he's like, go, take care of these ones, especially go and do it. And Nimble's like, yes, I'll go and do it. He's like, I'm supposed to get this from every man. And Tresilian is like, well, and widows, because widows were probably left stuff from their husband's estates. So every man and every widow, but not young women or children. And Nimble's like, okay, great. So he goes off to do that. And that's the end of Act 3, Scene 1. So we've got King Richard not really wanting to deal with the fact that he is messing up his entire country, but his followers sort of going out of their way to really screw over all of the citizens and anybody who might have anything negative to say about Richard at all. Do we think this is a recipe for a happy country? I don't know. Come on back tomorrow for more and we'll see how it all works out. Mwah.